Hello there, and welcome back to the final couplet with me, Theo Cowan, the podcast in which I embark on the almost impossible task of trying to work out what the hell Shakespeare was going on about in all of his sonnets. We've made it to sonnet 47. That's a lot of sonnets that we've looked at, isn't it? We've had sonnets about love. We've had sonnets about aging. We've had sonnets about eyes and hearts. Sonnets about people being hot. Sonnets about longing. Sonnets about death. So he really covers a lot in his sonnets. Shall I say sonnets one more time? Sonnets. Anyway, this week, sonnet 47 is a very similar sonnet to 46. In many ways, I'd say it's a continuation. It's not so much a part 1 and part 2 type thing that we've had in the past, where he literally continues on from the previous sonnet, sometimes starting with but or and. This one is a self-contained sonnet, but if you remember last week, and if you didn't listen to last week, shame on you. Go back and listen to it. No, I'm only joking. You don't have to, but you can if you want. But last week's sonnet was about Shakespeare's eyes and heart being at war with each other and fighting over Shakespeare's lover, or how they perceive Shakespeare's lover. And this week, similar theme. So, without further ado, let's dive in and have a listen, shall we? Sonnet 47. Betwixt mine eye and heart a league is took, and each doth good turns now unto the other. When that mine eye is famish'd for a look, or heart in love with sighs himself doth smother, with my love's picture then my eye doth feast, and to the painted banquet bids my heart. Another time mine eye is my heart's guest, and in his thoughts of love doth share a part. So either by thy picture or my love, thyself away are present still with me. For thou no farther than my thoughts canst move, and I am still with them, and they with thee. Or if they sleep, thy picture in my sight awakes my heart to hearts and eyes' delight. There we are, sonnet 47. So yeah, in many ways it is a continuation of sonnet 46. It's still about the eyes and the heart. So if you were missing the talk about eyes and hearts, you needn't have worried, because sonnet 47 has you covered. If you didn't think you'd heard enough about eyes and hearts in sonnet 46, then woohoo, it's your lucky day. Because you better bet they're the protagonists of sonnet 47 as well. And what's quite nice in sonnet 47 is they've sort of made up and become friends, haven't they? Because in sonnet 46, the eyes and the heart were at war with each other. They were angry at each other. And sonnet 47, it's a beautiful tale of them sharing Shakespeare's lover and becoming best of friends. It's a friendship tale between eyes and heart. Nothing weird about that. Right, let's dive into this and work out what it means line by line. Between mine eye and heart a league is took, and each doth good turns now unto the other. So league, back in the day, I think, meant a sort of truce, an agreement. So the eyes and the heart have reached an agreement. And now, each of them are doing favours for the other, which is lovely to see. So they were at war, and now they've made a truce, and they're actually getting on by the sounds of it. When that mine eye is famish'd for a look, or heart in love with sighs himself doth smother, with my heart's picture then my eye doth feast, and to the painted banquet bids my heart. So that's not obviously just one line, but I think it's the whole thought here. And he's saying, when my eye is famished, when my eye's starving to have a look at you, my lover, or when my heart smothers itself with sighs of love for you, my lover, then my eye looks at a painting of you, of the recipient of the poem. Not just looks, actually feasts on a painting of you. And what's nice is the eye invites the heart to the feast, to the banquet. So they can both sort of stare at that painting and be in love with you, which is nice. That's so nice of the eye to invite the heart after all they've been through. You know, to invite your ex-enemy to a feast is a very big thing to do, I think. So well done, eye. Another time, mine eye is my heart's guest, and in his thoughts of love doth share a part. So the eye's had the heart round for a bit of dinner and to have a look at the painting of Shakespeare's lover. And the heart's gone, well, you know what? That was lovely. Why don't you come on round and I'll share some of my thoughts of love with you, the eye. So the heart is paying the favour back to the eye. So the eye shared the painting with the heart, and the heart has shared his thoughts of love with the eye. What a beautiful, harmonious relationship they're in. So, either by thy picture or my love, thyself away are present still with me. So either by looking at a picture or feeling love for you from my heart, you are always present with me, you being the recipient of the poem, Shakespeare's lover. So again, we're clearly in a long distance situation here, because Shakespeare is saying that when you're away from me, you're still in my thoughts, you know, I still love you. Thyself away are present still with me because of this picture and what my heart's been saying to my eye. For thou no farther than my thoughts canst move, and I am still with them, and they with thee. So you can't travel farther than my thoughts, and I'm always with my thoughts, and they are always with you. We've had a previous sonnet that is about how quickly thoughts can leap huge distances. I can't remember which sonnet in particular, because look, we've done 47, alright, and I don't remember all of them. But there were a few in the past about how Shakespeare's thoughts can travel. And now we're on to the final couplet. Or if they sleep, thy picture in my sight awakes my heart to heart's and eyes' delight. So he's still on the topic of his thoughts here. So if his thoughts are asleep, the picture of you will wake up my heart and delight both my eyes and my heart. So even when my thoughts might not be with you, the image of you suddenly appears and wakes my heart and my eyes, and they're having a great time thinking about you. Which is a lovely thought, isn't it? And that's Sonnet 47. And it's a nice one, I think. I mean, there is the argument that Shakespeare's losing his mind a little bit here, because he is talking about his eyes and his heart having a chat. And that's not everyone talks about that sort of stuff. But I really like the idea of body parts chatting to each other and talking to each other, because they do, really, I think. You know, your brain really talks to everyone, doesn't it? And by everyone, I mean all of your other body parts. That's how the body works. Your brain says, move your legs, you move your legs. But it's nice to think of the heart getting involved. So my heart might be having a conversation with my legs at the moment. And the heart's going, I love coffee. I really love coffee. And my legs are going, yeah, I love coffee as well. I'm going to walk and go and get a coffee. You know, very similar to Shakespeare's Sonnet 47, I'd say. And on that note, I'm going to go and get a coffee. Right, I'm back. I've got a coffee. Lovely stuff. My legs and my heart had a little chat while the coffee was being made. and they're getting on well, which is nice. So I think it's about time we put this Sonnet 47 to our story. And if you'll remember last week, Shakespeare is obviously out in the countryside. There's no way of him getting back into town because his horse, Couplet, has disappeared for some reason, which is bloody annoying. And Shakespeare is slowly running out of food and water, and he's sort of begun to hallucinate his lover. His lover, he thinks, is of course the poet and author John Donne. But little does he know, John Donne doesn't give a crap about Shakespeare anymore. And it's actually his frenemy Ben Jonson who is in love with him. But he doesn't know that yet, so keep it quiet. And Shakespeare, probably through lack of food and water, had imagined John Donne appearing in front of him and recited Sonnet 46 to him. And that is where we left off. So I think we should find out what is going to happen next. Shakespeare finishes reading Sonnet 46 to the apparition of John Donne. John Donne doesn't say a word. Shakespeare says, "Well, what did you think of that? Did you like that, John? Did you like my sonnet?" John Donne still doesn't reply. And Shakespeare says, "Well, look, take my hand. I'm coming for a cup of tea. I'm so pleased that you're here, John. Come on in, please. I'm sorry about all of the eyes and heart stuff. Is that weird? Is that weird to have written?" Still, John Donne doesn't speak. Shakespeare leads the image of John Donne into his little cottage, closes the door behind him. "Let me just put the kettle on, and I'll make a brew for both of us." And Shakespeare goes into the kitchen, pops on the kettle, and pours 2 glasses of hot water. He thinks he's making tea, but he's lost his mind, so hot water it is. He hands over the cup of hot water to John Donne, and it smashes on the floor. And Shakespeare says, "Oh, silly John, let me just mop that up for you. Why did you butterfingers?" Still John Donne's apparition doesn't speak. "Oh, I've missed you, John. Shall we lay together?" And Shakespeare takes John Donne's apparition by the hand and leads him up to the bedroom, where he tries to lay with John Donne's apparition. It's not particularly successful, and Shakespeare is a little bit disappointed, but he thinks, well, it'll get better probably over time. These things usually do. And as he lies in bed with John Donne's apparition, he says, "I've written another sonnet about my heart and eyes that I think you might want to hear. They've made up, if you're worried. They've made up. They're friends now." And John Donne's apparition, of course, remains wordless. Shakespeare says, "Well, it is about sort of a long-distance relationship and stuff, and obviously you're with me now, so it's not quite as relevant, but I think you might like it, and if you were worried that my heart and my eyes were still at war, then this is going to put you at ease." John Donne looks at him with his pale blue eyes and says, "Nothing still." You thought he was going to say something, but he didn't. And Shakespeare said, "Well, okay, I'll just read it to you anyway. I know you're not saying anything, and that's okay. You're a bit shocked about seeing me again, and we're in love and everything like that. So let me just read it to you, okay? And then maybe you can say something afterwards, maybe, because you haven't really spoken for quite a long time, and we've laid together and everything. So maybe you will say something after I read this sonnet. Maybe, perhaps. Anyway, here goes. Sonnet 47. My eye and my heart are mates again, and now each does the other favours. When my eye is starving to see you, or my heart smothers itself with sighs of love for you, then my eye looks at a painting of you, and to this feast invites the heart as his guest. Another time, my eye is the guest who my heart shares his thoughts of love with. So, even when you're away, you're still present with me through pictures of my love for you. You can't travel farther than my thoughts, and I'm always with them, and they're always with you. If my thoughts go to sleep, your picture remains in my sight, and delights both my heart and my eyes. Well, there we are. That is Sonnet 47, and the story that accompanies it. I'm a little bit worried about Shakespeare in this situation. He does appear to have lost his mind. I didn't know the story was going to take this turn, but I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. And I'm looking forward to find out what happens next week, and if the Sonnet 48 is still about eyes and heart, or if Shakespeare maybe somehow returns to his lover. It's hard to say what's going to happen, but you know, that's what's so exciting about all of these sonnets, isn't it? So, until next week, bye!